And welcome to the Saturday episode of DB2. David Brem here with Daniel Butler as always. Time to go over the final injury reports going into Sunday's games. Butler, how'd the Thanksgiving treat you?
It was pretty well. Seeing all family, traveling a little bit. We are unfortunately a little ways away, a few hours away from family, so it's a little bit of a journey, but not too bad. Outside of that, it was nice to see everybody. With the whole pandemic and everything, you don't really see people too much. At
Yeah.
least I don't. Maybe I just use that as an excuse. I'm not sure. Like, oh
That's a
yeah,
that's a nice one to have in your back pocket.
I got COVID. I think I got a little cough. I think it could be COVID.
I don't want to risk it.
It's just not worth the risk. So maybe I've used that. I don't know. I don't think so. But my wife called me when I was on my way. When I was traveling to see family. This was beforehand, and she was coughing, and she's like I think I might have COVID. And I'm like, are you gonna get tested? She's like, yeah, I just can't stop coughing. I'm like, well, get tested. Like I'm already halfway here. And then like 10 minutes later, she calls me. She's like, oh yeah, I just couldn't stop coughing. I just thought it might be COVID. I think I'm okay.
That's the issue now. Is like you can't like
Uh,
I have allergies and stuff. If I just cough in public, everybody looks at you like you're gonna take
uh,
the whole store down. So,
yeah, what a
but
world.
yeah. So, all right, we only have 12 games to talk about because there's 15, but 3 of them already passed. Hopefully, you're either, uh, let's just say, not down too bad. I don't think there's a way you'd be up crazy after those 3 games, but hopefully, you're not down too bad or you're in a good position going into the weekend. We're going to kick it off. Buccaneers Colts. Really only one fantasy relevant name. Antonio Brown's still out. Not a surprise. We saw this one coming. But Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, T.Y. Hilton, all technically on injury reports throughout the week for practice, but all clear going into Sunday. So, are you have any hesitation on Godwin, Evans, or at this point Gronkowski?
I mean, we saw Gronk last week,
Yeah, he
so
was
I
fine.
mean,
Yeah,
he was solid. So I think he's back to being probably a top five tight end. I mean, if you look at the guys, because we got some guys on bye, but you look
hmm
at you got obviously Kelsey on bye, but you got Kittle and Waller's already played. Kittle, Hawkinson's played Andrews, and then I mean, you got a conversation.
yeah,
Is it Kyle Pitts? Is it Gronk? Like I feel like he's like right there. So and then a few other guys maybe in the conversation, but he's maybe the third or fourth tight end ranked this week. So, yeah, I'm good with
yeah,
rocking with him. I don't think you can find the difference between him and like usually we say it's all kind of mixed. So if you're worried, he's too much better than all the other guys to not play
yeah.
him now.
Yeah, I think he's right in that like Pitts conversation. Like if Pitts isn't every week, no doubter to me, and Gronk, as long as he's going to be on the field, is the same way, especially in that offense.
Yeah, and they play at
Uh,
1-2, so you'll know right away. But
yep,
seems like they're all good to go besides Antonio Brown.
yep. Next up, a few more names on this one. Eagles, Giants. As far as Philly goes, Jordan Howard is officially out. It's not a huge blow to fantasy, but if you're in a deep league or in some situation where you were rolling with Jordan Howard, he won't be out there for you.
And Boston
Uh,
Scott now, you mentioned deep league, immediately in a deep league probably being played.
yeah,
And Miles Sanders, I guess if you probably are playing him anyway, he's a top 20 guy. But there's a chance that maybe you move him up a little bit. I don't think that
a
really
little
changes
bit,
much
not
there because I
much.
think
Yeah,
Boston Scott, I mean, Jordan Howard had 17% of the snaps the last week. So I'm not sure if that's because of the injury. I actually didn't watch the game, but I don't think he's going to take much away from, I don't think he did take much away from Miles Sanders. So, but again, you maybe feel a little bit better. I'm assuming it's going to be a split between him and Boston Scott and Miles Sanders.
yeah. I like you said, it might bump Sanders up a couple spots, but I
Yeah.
think Boston Scott's the only one this really
Miles
affects.
Sanders top 20, Boston Scott probably a top 30, 35-ish. So
Somewhere in that ballpark.
you know, based on that, I guess do what you think is best.
Yep. And on the Giants, Shepard is officially out. So we've talked about this wide receiver core. It's kind of a mess, but Shepard is kind of the one guy you at least semi believe in if he's playing, but he won't be out there. Kadarius Tony is doubtful, which is almost an out. Like at this point, I can't remember last time I saw doubtful that I'm sure it's happened, but like a doubtful to play. But honestly, even if he does play, not a guy we believe in. And Saquon is questionable, which I feel is just his natural state. Um, that's just going to have to be a watch and see. Um, if he plays, you play him, and if he doesn't, Booker automatically becomes a really nice start.
Yeah, it's like with the Giants real quick. They have Kenny Galladay, which was a big signing. I drafted him and I got rid of him after I don't know a handful of weeks when I realized it
Same
was not
thing.
working. But yeah, so that didn't work. Kadarius Toney has really been a highlight. He's shown looks to be legit, and then Sterling Shepard, and then many other guys. Darius Slayton, their core they just can't stay healthy. That's the like
Yeah.
it's like there's so much talent. I feel like not like an elite talent receiver, but I feel like you got the talent. The quarterback play necessarily hasn't been good either, but uh, I guess Kenny Galladay, this week looks like
If you're in a pinch.
again, if you're a deeper league, I mean that's the guy. I mean that's the guy you would be playing. I think there's no one left, so
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay might actually have a good day here, or who knows? I don't know. And obviously Saquon, you got him, you play him.
Yeah, like I
And
said, if he's playing, I feel like whichever running, like if Saquon doesn't go, Booker automatically becomes probably started in a lot of leagues. But Barkley, even with the ankle issue, he's had issues. He just has issues. That's what
yeah,
you know that if you drafted him.
so roll him out there.
Yep. Titans Patriots. On the Titans side, um, the only AJ Brown is out. He's officially out, so that's the big name. Obviously, a guy that if you have him and he's playing, he's a no-brainer. Obviously, but he will be out this week. I did see McNichols is in the concussion protocol. I don't know how much that really matters for fantasy, but if he's a guy in a deeper league that you're watching, just keep an eye on it. It's like impossible to know if he's going to clear that in time.
I think
That's
I
just
might
gonna
have
have
seen
to.
he was ruled out or unlikely to play already.
Okay.
So I will say
He was
this.
yeah he was still officially questionable,
Yeah,
but
when I seen that, I think he might have been officially ruled out. Whatever, okay, watch it. Because I do think, again, I know this may not matter for standard 12 teams, but with McNichols out, I do think, you have your Hilliard. That would be obviously a deeper league. He was very involved in the pass game. He was he was one of the top rated fantasy backs because he had so many catches. And then also Deontay Foreman. So with McNichols out, it does kind of clear the path a little bit. We seen it last week, so we kind of know that I'm assuming we'll see a good amount of Foreman in
yeah,
this game, maybe even more. I think Foreman is a top 30 guy, and then Hilliard is obviously you wouldn't probably play him in the senior 12 team league, but he could boom. He could definitely boom like he did last week if they pass a lot. They did pass like 50 sometimes last week, so that also I would expect them to focus more on the run game, which would be Foreman's would mean a better day for Foreman. But New England's playing really well as well, so who knows? This New England team looks legit, so they might have to pass a lot. Yeah, I don't know how the game flow would go, but I think Foreman's kind of interesting, and Hilliard is obviously you're hoping the game flow kind of makes it where they pass a lot because when that does happen, it seems like he's on the field quite a bit.
yeah. Agree with everything you just said. On the Patriots side, stop me if you've heard this before. There's some confusion in the New England backfield. Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are both questionable. It seems like I know you said you read some things, and one of them is probably going to go, but they are both questionable. Keep an eye on it. If they don't, I guess Bolden would be the play, and you'd feel okay about it, but not. I mean, you're not going to
You
feel
hate New
stellar.
England running backs. I will say
I really
this.
do. They've
Uh,
hurt. They've hurt me too many times.
I like both of them. I think it looks like they're both go. We think, again, just keep an eye on that. But they're like top 25 guys. So when I say like them, it's not like they're a top like must
Yeah, yeah.
start. But I think they are both like top 25 guys, which I said the same thing last week. I think you roll them out there. A lot of leagues will roll them out there if you have. And like Stevenson wasn't even drafted, so you could have picked him up. You could easily
Don't
have
get me
him.
wrong. I'm playing Harris in one of my leagues. Like just
Uh,
because I don't like him, but I have to.
and Bolden. That's the thing, though. One of these backs, as always, or maybe multiples, will have good games.
Yeah.
Bolden could easily have a great day. Could be a top 10 running back. We've seen it. Or J.J. Taylor comes in and gets some touchdowns if some of these guys are banged up. Who knows? But this, I don't know if he will even be active. We'll see with all these running backs. But yeah, so I guess that's a name. Like if Harris and Stevenson miss, then you have to look at
Yeah.
J.J. Taylor as a deeper league ad or a play,
Yeah.
just because he'll get probably the goal line work. But that's probably I mean, it's obviously Harrison and Monday Stevenson that are
Yeah.
the starts that are in most people's situation that you're thinking, okay, do I play him or not? I think top 20, 25. Harris probably like a spot or two ahead of him, but they're basically a coin flip. I think I said the same thing last week, or maybe there was even
Yeah.
this week when we talked about the game. There's a coin flip.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what would you do? Obviously, if they're both out, that gives Bolden some value. What if only one of them is out? Where would you
I
slide in
don't think
Bolden at
it
that point?
moves. Honestly. Oh,
Okay.
Bolden. Well, one
Yeah.
Harrison Stevenson. I think those carries just. I think the way they play is just like I don't think really one of those guys just shoots up. Because
Okay.
New England's weird. I don't think just because the second guy's out. I think the third guy then gets a lot of work too. So,
That's what I was thinking. So you think
Bolden
like if one of them is out, does Bolden reach? Let's say Harris is out. Does Bolden reach where Stevenson was, or is he just
close.
a
I
few
think
slots
top
behind? Okay.
30. Yeah. I think he's probably got to put him a little bit lower because there's a reason why Stevenson is in there and
Yeah.
Bolden isn't. But yeah, I'd probably say Bolden's a top 30 guy right now, maybe a top 40 guy. I mean, he's obviously more desperation. You're hoping he sees more, we'll see. You just never know with this team. You're really
Yeah.
just throwing a dart. I mean, Harris and Ramondre Stevenson know a lot safer than Bolden, obviously. And that's why they're going to be ranked a lot higher.
Yep. All right. Panthers and the Dolphins, we got nothing. That's what we like to see. So everybody good to go in that one. Falcons Jags. The only name of on the final report is Cordarrelle Patterson. Everything I've been reading all week is he looks like he's probably going to be good to go. So you want to keep an eye on it just in case. That could obviously change. It's an ankle injury. He relies on speed a lot. So I don't think they're going to risk him if he's not at least most of the way there. So keep an eye on it. But it seems like there's at least a good amount of positive attitude towards Cordero playing.
Yep, I agree. And obviously, he's the only back you care about if in almost every league. Mike Davis had almost half the snaps last week when he missed, but Allison was also right there, same amount. So like, even if you are convinced that Mike Davis will take over the role, you still can't play him. I feel like you'd have to really be in a desperate spot or in a deeper league. But even in that, you're probably like, there's not a whole lot of upside because, and
That's the thing
then
is there's
Wayne
no
Gallman
upside.
didn't really play at all. But we don't know. Like he might get more love in this game. So, yeah, obviously Patterson though, if he goes, which hopefully
Yeah.
he does. He's a borderline top 10 guy. So
Yeah. Jets Texans. Couple names for the Jets is all we got on this one. I like it. It's a pretty pared down injury report this week, which is good. Carter is out, which we pretty much knew. And then Corey Davis is questionable. That's a guy who's kind of questionable on whether he's making it into your lineup anyways. So I would say if he's questionable going into the game, he's already kind of a question to be in your lineup. This might be the week just to not worry about him. And because if he's banged up, like when you're a fringe guy anyways, and you're a little banged up, I think that kind of takes you out of consideration in a 12-team league.
yeah, it's tough. Obviously depends on your
Yeah.
situation. And this is also Zach Wilson will be the quarterback. So I know you're not as high. I personally think it will look the same. I think anybody. It seems. I don't know. We'll see. I'm actually interested in this game, even though it's a weird thing because it's my team obviously, but that's playing the Texans. But just from the Jets have been a team that I've just been so fascinated with because the offense actually has a lot of fantasy value. But the one thing is, yeah, I think he's like top 30 guy. So I mean, you might be playing him, but you probably can get away from him. Obviously, Elijah Moore is the guy you'd be playing if you have him. Play him. He's been a stud. Most likely you're starting him. But the thing that I want to say is with the running back situation, Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman. This is kind of like the New England situation. I really have no idea. One of these guys will probably have a good day. Maybe they both will. They're probably both. They're a little bit lower than the New England guys, but they're both top 30 guys. Because I just don't know. I go Ty Johnson just because we've seen it, but Coleman got a lot more love this past week. But yeah, I'd probably put Ty Johnson a few spots above him. But there's a chance that you could have picked these guys up too, especially Coleman. You could have picked him up and you might be playing him, especially in deep leagues you're playing him. And 12-team leagues you even might be rocking one of them. And I don't want to say maybe even Coleman because depending on buys and who, like there's a we're probably playing Elijah Mitchell looks like he's going to be out. We haven't talked about that. Oops,
Yeah, way to get
spoilers.
ahead.
But like Jeff Wilson, like that might be so like in that spot we're kind of like we're in a
Yeah.
desperation because of buys and stuff too. So you might be playing one of those guys.
Yeah, and I said it in the last episode we did, and I feel pretty strongly. I like Ty Johnson more. I like his upside more, and I just like kind of what he could bring you because I think the floor is kind of the same for both of them. So I would much rather have the upside of Ty Johnson if I was going with one of those guys.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Michael Carter got injured. So he had 28. They all had 28% of the snaps, which is
yeah,
kind of funny. So we don't really know what it will look like until we see a game without Michael Carter, and now we'll see
yeah,
it. We've seen Ty Johnson more involved over the year, so that's kind of yeah. But in this past game, Coleman got more carries and such. So yeah, that's kind of again, it's a coin flip, but I think we both lean towards Ty Johnson.
yeah. 2 games in a row where we got nothing, which is good. Pittsburgh, Cincy, and I almost said San Diego. The Chargers and the Broncos. Both of them, nobody fantasy relevant on the final injury report. So that's what we like to see.
Yeah, and another coin flip between the Denver guys. It's been a coin flip all year. But
Yeah.
well, if you're playing them, if you have both, unfortunately, like I don't know, you might be playing them both. Honestly, they're both. I like those guys more than the New England guys. So you have the Denver guys, and then you have the New England guys, and then you have the Jets guys, and they're kind of all coin flips on which
Yeah.
one you're playing, and you're just hoping the guy who you play gets touchdowns. I don't know. So good luck. I guess I would probably. I don't even know. Gordon probably I think, but
Probably Gordon, but
it's
yeah.
close. I mean, you might be playing either one. I mean, they're both like top 20 guys, but
Vikings, Niners. Vikings are clean. Running back situation in San Francisco, not great. Hasty officially out. And Elijah Mitchell doubtful, which I always take to mean out. So it looks like it's Jeff Wilson's job.
Yeah, it is a finger issue. So I think it's like a right finger, and they said he was only doing holding with the left hand. Maybe that's the opposite, but so it's not 100%. Like it depends on if they could somehow get that. But yeah, doubtful almost always means out.
Yeah.
So I guess
If he
Jeff
was
Wilson.
questionable with a finger, I'd lean that way. But doubtful is because I don't think it matters. Like I don't know how much it matters whether they say questionable or doubtful. So I feel like if they had almost any hope, they would have just said questionable.
Jeff Wilson did get 19 carries last week, only had 50 yards. Trey Sermon had 10 carries. Wilson it was like it was 58% for Wilson snaps, 35% for Sermon. So Wilson's obviously the guy in that situation.
Yeah. And I think he will perform fine if the way it going. Like probably a little bit ahead of like all those groups we just talked about, but like a spot or two, not
man,
crazy.
I don't know. Elijah Mitchell, I would say like top 20.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jeff Wilson is top 25 maybe. He's right there with probably he's a little bit lower. I mean, this team runs a lot, so he's going to get probably close to 20 carries. So it's hard not to rank him at least top 20, top 25. But I also will say Deebo Samuel, they really like him. He ran it 8 times in this past game. They like him in the backfield. So Deebo also is going to get a lot of carries. So 8 for a wide receiver. I don't even know if we can say he's a wide receiver and a running back. They put him back there so much.
He's in that Patterson.
Wait till he gets the running back designation too. He's going to be one of the top picks next week if a league ends up putting that designation for
if he gets both.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For sure. All right. Packers. Couple of players questionable. Aaron Jones is questionable, and then Lazard, who we've talked about a lot, more of a deeper league play, but he is also questionable. So
yeah, you probably aren't touching him anyway.
Probably,
almost
probably
never actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, Aaron Jones, keep your eye on it. I couldn't even get a read off everything I was reading which way they're leaning.
I actually was seeing it seems like a no, but he's not going to go. AJ Dillon's a top 10 guy if Jones is out. So
yeah,
If you were able to pick up AJ Dillon anytime during this year, or if he, draft him, I actually don't have his ADP here, but he might have been dropped whenever, sometime, or you picked him up. So if you have him, you definitely roll him out there. And even if Aaron Jones does go, Dillon was pretty good even with Jones out there. So there might be a chance you're still playing him. So yeah, I'm a big AJ Dillon fan. So I think I think if he goes, you probably even, and then like there's a chance too, depending on your team, even if Jones does go, you're still playing AJ Dillon.
Yeah. I think that's pretty clean at this point. Next are the last game that we have final reports for is Cleveland and Baltimore. Peoples Jones is questionable. Again, more of a deep league guy than a 12-teamer, but probably not a guy you want to go near. And Hollywood Brown is continues to be questionable. He practiced limitedly. It's another one of those things I haven't. Maybe you found something I couldn't. I couldn't really find a way they were leaning on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I'm just based on a little bit I was reading. Like, it looks like he's going to go. But again, we're just guessing. He's a top 15 guy if he goes, I think.
Yeah,
So you roll him out there. I will. Yeah, Donovan Peoples Jones probably cracks the top 50, maybe top 45. Like again,
maybe.
deeper, much deeper league. And I will mention also, big is that Lamar Jackson is officially off of the injury report. Looks
Yeah,
like he is. It was an illness. He seems like maybe not feel he may not be feeling amazing, but
they also said his finger is good to go too. So
he's
that was like a little side thing.
he's good to go. So that will be big for the Ravens, obviously, in that
Yeah,
whole offense.
yeah. And we don't have any official for the Seahawks and the Washington football team at this point. But the big news is it looks like Logan Thomas probably will go on Monday. It is a tough thing to risk because they are playing Monday. Um, it's tough because you really want him to be in your lineup if he does play, but with no legitimate backup in Washington, unless you can get your hands on Everett, I don't know if you can risk it depending on who else you have.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, Logan Thomas is a top 10 tight end. But like when here's the thing
We
with
told you to wait on Gronk. I think we're gonna tell you to wait on Thomas.
Um, it's so tough. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, I like Gronk a lot more
That's what I mean. Yeah,
than Logan Thomas. I mean, I'm looking at the guys around him. Tyler Higbee. You have to start him over if you have him. You have to start Higbee over. Like, Dan Arnold probably have to roll out there, I think. And then you get to Evan Ingram, Tyler Conklin sort of thing territory. And I'm like, if Everett's available, that's the thing. Like, that's like,
yeah,
you probably need Everett to be available. I like the Logan Thomas Everett combo. If you have a spot, I like that better than pretty much anybody that would be. I think he's probably like 8 or 9 ranked tight end this week.
yeah.
So
I think that's fair.
I think if Everett is in the mix down there at 15, whatever. So it's not really that much difference between Evan Ingram and Gerald Everett, I think. So if you
No,
want to risk that and just go with Everett, I think that makes a lot of sense. Logan Thomas is I actually like I don't know, like every time, like it seems like obviously they love their tight ends. Ricky Seals Jones had a lot of value when he was in there. He seems like he's good for at least 5 catches, and I don't see any other tight end around that anywhere near that that's like
that
five
you feel
catches that
good
you can
about it.
lock
Yeah,
in. And then obviously you're still hoping to get in the end zone. But even if it doesn't, he's probably still a top 10 tight end because 5 for 50 is enough for borderline top 10
yeah.
without a top 10.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you have like a guy you've been rolling with who's one of those like top 5 to 7 guys. If you can get your hands on Everett, I think it's worth the risk because, like you said, everybody else, I think Everett is in that mix with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean
So I
Kittle,
think
Andrews, Pitts, Gronk, Gesicki, Goddard, Fryermuth, Fant, and then I think you get into the territory of okay, Higbee. Do you go if you have Higbee? Do you go Higbee or the Logan Thomas and Everett? I probably
I'd
go.
just risk him.
I go Higbee. You go Thomas there. Like you
I
wait.
if you can get Everett,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
all
This is all contingent
based
on
on
that.
if you can get Everett.
If
Yeah,
you can't, you probably almost have to play. I would probably
you have to
say
play somebody else.
yeah, it's so tough with the Monday night. Like I don't know how far you would go down, but I get down to like Austin Hooper territory, and I'm like, I'm risking it. You know what? I'm like,
Yeah, at Hooper,
after you get
yes.
outside like the top 15, you get to, I'm like, yeah, they might give me a 0 anyway. I mean, it's like
That's very true.
and
So,
maybe you could pick up if you absolutely need points, you could pick up John Bates, who is the next tight end, who would probably give you 5 points at least. So if you're like, okay, I need the points
if you
Monday
get
night,
to
you'll
Monday,
know,
yeah.
you'll be like, okay, I need something. Hope if you have a spot available, you can pick up John Bates.
Yeah.
Um,
Make sure you have somebody who's going to be available to be
Yes,
dropped.
and that's always the thing. If you have somebody on your bench, you don't want to drop. You're like, oh, I don't want somebody to get them right before kickoff. As time when you're watching this, it's fine. Drop them because then they can't pick them up before waivers, and they'll have to wait. So if you're like, make sure whenever you're dropping people that you think have value, wait until it gets close enough to the game, so then they can't pick them up until the following week. That's always, I guess
Oh yeah.
that's what because you don't want to just give somebody and then they end up picking them up and playing them against you. If there's value there, or they pick them up before the waivers go through next week. Make them use their waiver priority to get them, and not just hand them out for free. In the middle of the week.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, like we said, if you can get your hands on Everett, I think it's absolutely worth holding out to see if Thomas plays. There's a little more consideration if you can't get your hands on Everett, but there's still ways to make it make sense depending on who you've been playing. So that is it for week 12. We are getting into the dog days. We're getting into the end of the season, so probably coming up on playoffs for. I know some leagues have like 2 week. Like
Yeah, you're
every round is
probably
2 weeks. You're
yeah.
probably coming up on it.
Yeah, so
So
we have a 16 playoff. So we actually have 3 more weeks. Week 15 will be the start of ours. Week 15, week 16, week 17.
I believe that's how mine is.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are like that, but you might even start in week 14.
Yeah.
Or you may not start till week 16. So it just depends on your league. But yeah, there's it's either you have 3, 4, 5 weeks left, whatever. We're very close to the end.
Home
So
stretch.
yeah, hit the like button
Yeah,
if this is
absolutely.
helpful, or you just enjoy whatever we're doing here. Also, we'll be back next week. I don't want to promise any sort of. We'll definitely talk about injuries. We'll talk about all the games. We'll have a sort of definitely our Wednesday longer episode will be there.
Yeah.
We'll have our Saturday episodes. We'll mix in some other stuff probably. But just come back, hit the notification, turn the notifications on, subscribe. Anything else?
No, just thank
hopefully
everybody for coming by. I hope
yeah,
you had a great
if you're
Thanksgiving.
watching this and you're maybe still doing Thanksgiving over the weekend, be safe. Have a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you did have a good one. If you celebrate that, and come back next week. Good luck this week as well. Big games. So you got to win probably. I mean, a lot of people are in that spot. I'd have to. So go
I
get a
very much
win.
am.
Go get a win. All right, have a good one. See ya.
See ya.